Hello and welcome to another episode of TesterSpeak, and I'm your host Brijesh Deb. So often in our journey as a tester, we wonder what else can we do apart from finding defects, apart from writing a few test cases, marking the pass. My guest today is a perfect example of what else you could do apart from just doing these. My guest today has taken up a journey from being a test engineer to be a subject matter expert. It gives me a lot of pleasure welcoming Himani Yadav to the show. Welcome, Himani.
Hey, hi Brijesh. Thank you, and I'm really grateful to be a part of the TesterSpeak session of this week. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for having me here today. How are you?
You're more than welcome. I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing good.
All right. So, how are things going with you in terms of the lockdown and having to work from home?
So there are both pros and cons. The good thing is that I'm with my family after many years because I've never been at my hometown for a longer time. Like 1 week was a max, which I came in a stretch. And due to work and due to my college, so after 12 years, I think I'm here for a very long duration with my parents. So that's the best thing, and that's a good thing. And the bad thing is like yeah, the work has increased, the calls have increased, and that human interaction which we had when we were in office, that is no more there. So I miss that a lot. But people say that yeah, work from home, it's a very good thing, and this should be carried on for a long time. But yeah, it's good, but that human touch, that human interaction which we have face to face with our colleagues, that is what I'm missing. So in a way you can say I'm missing office, but and many other
I can imagine that. Yeah, I can also feel that way. Yeah, working from home is a good thing. It's not for too long. Obviously, you need to step out of your house, go meet colleagues, have a cup of coffee with them, maybe have lunch with them. It's good to see. So yeah, I understand what you're saying, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of other people who are watching your interview. So I'm pretty sure that the audience.
Sorry. And again, like few things like which could have been solved, just in office, like, just you turn around and, you speak to that person and, the things get solved. And yeah, you have to look for the calendar, schedule a meeting so that, he's available at that time. And then you take a call for 5 minutes, a call goes on for maybe 30 minutes and all, which an office would have been solved just by walking to the desk and just speaking to the person for 5 minutes.
I understand that how important it is, especially for a tester, to be able to just walk up to somebody and say, hey, this is the problem, please solve it for me, or can you take a look, or can we work together? Yeah, I completely understand. So I'm sure the audience is curious to know about how you began your journey as a tester.
So I was not placed through my college. This was not a campus placement, and after after my engineering, after the 4th year, since I was not placed from the college, and I came back home in my hometown. I did my engineering from Lonavala. So after the college was over, I came back at my place. And then since, for freshers, generally the referrals and things doesn't work much. So I thought I'll come Pune and I'll do some course, some certification course, so that, it enables me to at least apply in some companies. So in a month, I came back to Pune and I did one course on software testing. And that is when I started my journey. And my first company was IBM, and I was a contractor there. And after now, and after 8 years of job in my other company, that is I'm in VX now. So I'm a specialist and SME for the product on which I'm working.
Well, that's quite some journey. It's from being a tester and then going to become a specialist and a subject matter expert. Now, it has aroused my curiosity as to how does one become a subject matter expert. When we normally say okay, a tester, so our job is okay. You look at the requirements, write some tests, maybe execute those test cases. We tend to be happy with bugs. But how does one become a subject matter expert is something that I'm a little curious to know.
So, since the current product which I'm working on, the current project, so when I joined this company and, this project had just started, even after I joined. So I'm part of this product since then, when only the wireframes were existing for this product. No UI, nothing, just the wireframes were existing. Since then, I'm working on this product, and from that day, like for 2.5 years, I was a single QA, single tester of this in this team, and I had a manager who believed that the documentation or the user guide of any product should be done by a QA, because the QA knows the better than anyone else. Not even the developer, not even the product owner. The QA knows the product the best, and that's why the documentation of the user guide which is to be made should be done by a QA. And then that's why, along with testing, I was also making the user guides and very basic level user guides. That even very new user or a very can grasp the knowledge of the product. So by working on this and gaining knowledge of the product as I was doing, I was the alone one in the team who is doing testing and documentation, right from test planning, test strategy creation, test cases, execution, everything till the user, documenting it. So, it made me much more familiar with the product, and, a time came when the company realized that, I can be the subject matter expert, and they titled me with that.
Okay, so I hear a couple of things here. First is, as a technical, you should be able to document what the product is.
Yes.
That is what you told you. I kind of agree with that because I think it's a good idea to be able to express in very simple words what the product is.
Yes.
And if a tester can do that, then I think it gives a clear guideline. So I take that as a tip for other testers. If you're doing something, try and write what the product is doing or what that functionality is doing. Very simple words. It may not be a product document, but it may just be a guideline for other users who can play around with, or any other tester or a developer who is coming in. So I think that is a good idea. I'm going to borrow your manager's idea. Pass it on.
It will be a great help to the community, because not only this helps the person who is documenting it, but also if you are, it also if the document is shared with the end customers. So testers, generally, they have the idea. Okay, you have to walk in the client's shoes to test it. So same ways goes for documenting. What you understand, you will document it, and maybe that will be helpful to the end customers too.
Yeah, and if you do it in absolute layman's term, meaning the way you understand, okay, then lives become life becomes very, very easy for other people who are going to be using it, who are going to be testing it, who are going to be developing it. So yeah, that's a very good tip. The other thing that I take from the journey as an SME or being a tester to an SME is improving your communication skills. Now,
Yeah.
when you start documenting stuff, you obviously want to do it in a language which is understood by everyone. So obviously you will be working on your vocabulary. You will be working on making sure that whatever terminology or whatever technical terms you use for the product is exactly the same that is used in the industry, so that people can relate to it. So yeah, that's another tip, and I will borrow this tip and pass it on to testers worldwide. So how, I mean, explain this a little more. When you say document, do you think it's too much for a tester to be? You get so much work, and within the 9 years, you do testing and then documenting. What do you think it's?
So, if I got your question, you are asking that how I'm managing this. Sorry,
Yes.
your voice was a little broken at
Yes.
that time.
Yes.
So, what's the schedule which we follow right now is, suppose, consider there's some new feature coming in this release, okay? So the testing and everything, the sign off, the regression that is done. And then the immediate next week of the, sign off, I give it for the documentation so that, it's not washed away from my mind or anyone's mind, and it's really fresh. And since the full month, like before the release, I provided to the testing, so no documentation task at that time. But once the release is done, when the deployment is done, so then we give the time for the documentation, so that each and everything is documented. What is this part of the release, and maybe some known issues and all, and what is not part, because there may be some features people might already be knowing from another product. Like there must be any another product, and people, the customers might compare, okay, this is there, this is not there. So it's better to document beforehand, okay, in our product we are giving this functionality, about the other thing maybe in next release we'll do, or it's not existing at right now, and any workaround for it. If this is not working, then what's the workaround? So all these things are documented. So it's it's a very tight schedule. Like once this is over, the other release, the next release work starts. It's a little tight schedule, but yeah, I'm used to it now.
Okay, so how does it this whole thing of testing and then documenting, and then having to converse with your engineering teams, how does it work? I mean, do you see any challenges coming in?
So challenges, there are always challenges. No job is that sweet that you don't face any challenges. The challenges right now, which we face, is like our since to talk to the other team or to the customers, like. So in a day, doing all this task, and even supporting the customers with their queries, and helping them, and also completing the task in this 9 hours. 9 hours are not enough actually. When you're working from home, it's more than 9. But you have to plan your day as such. Like what I do is I have already planned my schedule in the calendar. Okay, these 2 hours I'll be giving to this task. The other 2 hours I'll be giving to that task. I keep slot empty for the support work, which if the other team members are facing some issue in my product. So since I'm termed as a SME, so the questions first come to me, and then if I'm not able to resolve it, then I have to pass it on to the developers. But the first single contact person, I'm the one. So I have kept a time slot for that too, so that my work is not affected. So in this everything, planning is the most important thing. You need to plan your day. You need to plan your activities. If required, if you want to do something on your own, like for your work, then you block your calendar. Because if someone will ask for you, you think about you are calling suppose you are calling a call center, support of any product, and if you are kept waiting and waiting, so how it feels. Okay, no support person is available on the call or something. So that I don't want to give that idea to the other team, other person, even if it's a person from my team, from my QA team, if they are asking me. So I don't want to make them waiting. So I keep a slot for, okay, if my 2 hours or 3 hours are going for this work, helping the other people, then my other tasks, like which I had planned to do it is not affected. So most important thing is planning here.
Okay, I completely agree with you that planning plays a very important role. And I like the fact that you are aware as an SME, people will reach you, so you have dedicated time for that. Apart from that, working as a tester in relationship with or together with some developers, what kind of challenges have you seen? I mean, everyday challenges as a tester. Okay, if I were to say, okay, in the life of a tester, what are the biggest challenges? What would be your
Okay,
response to that?
so yeah, so it's in 8 years, more than 8 years, I'm working. So one challenge, I faced is like the requirement transformation. Like sometimes it happens that okay, the requirement or the which is the developer is working on, he might give you a sense, okay, he might just give you a one liner or some not detailed explanation or the detailed requirement of it. So extracting the whole product from that one line is a very tough task. So requirement gathering from the developer for your testing is what the challenges we face, and that also we have currently now we have changed it. So we have brainstorming sessions with the developers while the developers are creating, doing brainstorming sessions on designs. We are writing the strategy parallelly. So we have changed this currently in our company, and it is helping a lot, because you cannot blame when you miss any scenario or test case. You cannot blame the developers. Okay, that this was or you cannot blame the testers. So you need to work parallelly. So brainstorming sessions with the developers are cutting down this challenge of requirement not accurate. And then the other challenge is when there's a delay in providing the feature for testing. So the dates, the feature release date, the deployment dates are fixed. No, but testing cannot be done in a day. That is my thought. So if there are delays in the feature to be given to QA, then it affects the testing of the product. So this is the other challenge that I face generally. Because obviously, if it's a very complicated product, obviously developers will take time, but that communication should be there. So if you are as a QA, as a tester, if you're facing it, okay, the deployment, the feature release to the QA is taking much time, you should raise your voice at that time, because later you cannot give such reasons that okay, we did not get it for testing on time. So you should raise your voice at the very moment. And the other challenge with developers, which I think is, I have heard from many developers, okay, what work does a QA does? Does QA have any work? So, I simply question, why do you think so? So they say, no, we are developers, we don't know about testing. So my question is that, okay, I'm a tester. So what work do developers do? I don't know. Does developer have any work? And they're like, okay, we got it. And that's the way, so that's the way I cut them. But this is a challenge not only with developers, but even with non-IT workers. No, I face this a lot. That okay, testers, what is that? Do you have any work? And the other thing is, okay, testers. That means you're in automation. Why testing is equal to automation in this world? I never understood it. What? Why the hype? A person who is not even an engineer, you know, he also asked, the person also asked the same thing. Okay, you are into testing, that means you are automating. Why? I mean, why this notion, so much of automation is there? So that's why I really support with you, like nothing called manual testing, but we need to change this ideology soon in the testing world or in the IT world.
I kind of agree with you on all things. And I like the way you speak counseling. That the developers they do. Okay, what does a developer do? I personally feel that it's important that we educate each other about the work. So when we are working, when testing, I think it's important that make a developer sit right next to you. This is how I test. Okay. Similarly, when a developer is coding, a tester sits right next to you. Okay, so what are you writing? Can you please explain your code? Okay, you may understand code or you may not understand code. It's fine. But if you ask them, can you explain your code? Then obviously they will have to explain the logic to you. Okay, and once having to explain the logic to you, that's when you as a tester give them inputs. Okay, you could do it this way, or you could be creative and things like that. So I think interaction is very important, and you bring a very good point that people do not understand the testing process so well, whether it is developers or whether it is IT background or even in general society. There are biases and it's good that people like you there to stand up to that challenge. Then put across questions to developers, to others, to tell us more about the stuff that you do, and you want to look so cool, but I'm cool is remarkable. Yeah. So I like that attitude. Apart from that, you mentioned about speaking of people understanding testing is equal to automation. That has been one of the biggest things we have been thinking about it. Okay, testing is definitely not equal to automation. Automation cannot replace testing. Automation is required, yes, because some of the things which you do repeatedly, for example, things like regression testing, for example, things like test data generation, for example, things like extraction of data from a tool like Jira and then putting it in a report. All of that can be automated. So focus your energy on that rather than saying, okay, we will replace testing. Testing cannot be replaced by automation.
Yes.
Testing cannot be not. So I am happy that you are standing up to that challenge. And that is a good message.
Okay, and when you say automation, I'm not saying that automation is not required. It is required, but that cannot replace manual or functional. Better to say functional. So
I know you know that I don't like to use the word manual because when somebody says manual, I'll tell you something. So when somebody says manual, I feel that it is somebody is talking about something from the manufacturing industry, somewhere where there is manual labor required. Right? For example, you're lifting some stones and carrying it manually. Okay, something like that. So where there is
Yeah.
manual labor required. So let's not use that word at least. Okay, that's my problem. Okay, and moreover, when you say testing without tools as a manual activity, who says that a so-called manual tester does not use tools? Okay, the
No,
brain is the
yes.
great. Okay, and other testers use it. So let's not get into that discussion.
And
Purely,
uh, is the, I mean, testing out a requirement, when you are not, this is not the execution, this is just when you get the requirement. So you analyze it, you analyze the requirement, you see, can it be automated? Can someone automate it?
no, nobody can.
And
No, exactly. Nobody can automate asking questions. Can they ask? Can you automate asking questions? No. Can you
yeah,
automate analysis? No. Can you automate thinking? No. Okay, so yes, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right about that, and I like the fact that you have been dealing with people and asking them the right questions. Now,
yes.
apart from that, okay, so let's talk a little bit about job description.
There's one more challenge with the developers, which I forgot to mention, and it just clicked. So I've also seen many developers who say that we don't require testers in our team, we don't require testers in our company, and we don't have. So my question is that is it really a fact that a company doesn't require testers? Yeah, if the unit tests are very powerful, and if the tester and if the developers are doing the work of testers, then it can be, but in an ideal scenario, I don't think. But I've heard this many times with different from different developers. So,
Uh,
what do you think on this? What are your points?
see, my response to that is very simple. And you've spoken about it. Okay, I like the fact that you remembered that discussion that we had and you brought up this point. So the funny thing is, when developers ask me that, I ask them a question. Okay, so I ask them what phone do they have. They obviously, somebody wants to show off playing Samsung Galaxy or an iPhone, and I said, okay, if you knew that this phone was not tested, would you still buy it? And the answer is no, I will not. How do you expect that a product that you're working on is not tested by a tester and it goes out to the market? And then people will trust that product. So that is the simple response that you can give. I mean, nobody will buy a product knowing it is not being tested. Nobody. We will not buy. I will not buy. Okay. So, if you develop and you say, hey, this is the product, and you give it to me for use, I will ask, has it been tested? If you say, no, it has not been tested by a professional tester, okay, it has been probably unit tested. I may take a look at it, but I will not buy it. Because I'll not be able to trust it. The trust
Yes.
only comes when you see that
I cannot. Your voice is breaking. I think you're not audible. I cannot.
can you hear me now? Is it okay now?
Yeah, yeah, it's good.
Okay. So there was some. So the microphone in my laptop is acting up. Okay, so I've been testing. I cannot find out why it is doing that, but apparently there is something to do with the hardware.
Okay.
I tested it. My IT team to troubleshoot. So I probably use the laptop. We'll see. We'll see what. So yeah, what I was saying is, nobody will buy a product if we do not have that tested okay label. Uh, because testing gives that trust, that comfort level. And that is why you need testers. And for people,
Yes.
for developers, for companies who believe that they can survive without testers, well, the truth is that we still get their testing done. For example, we've spoken a lot about Facebook not employing any testers, but it is their employees who do the testing for them. Okay, we know that they do canary how every feature is tested by their employees, then it is tested in 2% production, then 100% production. So there is testing that is happening. So if somebody says that okay, you don't need testers, well, I will not believe them. So
Yeah.
that's a good point.
Yeah, probably I think, I mean, this can be a reason that developers think so because, or maybe they might have got many defects from a particular tester in the feature that they developed. So they are saying this. But, this idea needs to change, not only in the developers, in the testers too, that we are not here for raising defects. We are here for grooming the product. We are here for grooming the product. Our intention should not be to find and raise defects. Our intention, our goal should be to groom the product, to enable the product. We are the enablers, we are not the blockers. Or we are
Yes, that
not the we are enablers of the product.
that is
So this
absolutely
idea should be, this idea should be, now should be with all the people, testers, developers, everyone, that we are not the blockers, we are enablers.
yeah. And if you look at the definition of testing, or if you look at what testing is all about finding information about the product, okay,
Yeah.
and giving that information to the stakeholders so that we can take decisions based on the information that they have. Okay, and in trying to find information, you will obviously find anomalies and deviations from the requirements which we classify as defects. So if you keep your goal as finding defects, you will not find the remaining defects, which you made a very valid point. And I think all testers need to understand this. As testers, don't restrict yourself to just finding defects. Go explore more, try and understand, try and learn, try and do some product documentation. Talk to engineering team, talk to developers, business people. If possible, talk to the customers if you have access to. Talk to the stakeholders, talk to the managers. If a product is going out in the market, what is the response? What is the feedback that you're getting? And I believe, I also believe that you guys are doing. You have a mechanism of gathering customer feedback. You have. I also read somewhere. In fact, one of the previous conference presentations I talked about customer success and gathering feedback.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little more about it?
About feedback.
Yeah. What is the mechanism? You have a customer success manager, and then you gather feedback. You work on it.
Sorry, your voice is breaking, so I'm not getting the full sentence at once.
Okay, let me try and
explain again?
do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, what I was saying is that so in your you did a conference presentation on customer feedback and how you can use that feedback to make the product better. And so I know that your company or the product that you're working on has this aspect of gathering feedback quickly, and then you have many schemes like, for example, I think try before you buy or something like that. Something of that sort. Now, try before you buy. I saw this first in shampoos. Okay, let me be very honest. where they had, but to hear this in context with the software product is something really good. So I want to know from you what is the concept and what is it that you guys work on.
So regarding the feedback, so the product, if I talk about my product, so in my product, we are working directly with the customers, and the customer is, one of the customers is one of the team from our company only. So, the product we are building, they are using it for their task. It's an internal product, and they are developing the main product on it. So, working very closely with the customers helps in understanding the scenarios, helps in understanding what they are expecting, how they are using, and gathering feedback in that terms is also helpful. So currently, how we do is, like since like we have got some defect from them, like from the customers, you can say. So we try and investigate how that was missed, how was it missed by a QA, because that scenario would tester might not have thought of that. Okay, the customers will use this scenario in their daily work. So timely feedback of taking from the customers, from the team who is using your product, it helps a lot. Or so suppose we've got some requirement. So what we do is we try and understand before starting the testing, that how are you going to use this specific feature what you have asked for us. What will be the use case in term? We will do obviously the functional and the other testing, but what exactly the official usage of this feature is, we take that inputs from the customers, and then with that mindset we do the testing, so that there is possibility of less bugs. No product can be defect free. There will be always any corner of the product which will be which will have defect, but the number will be less. So in that way, working with the customers and asking them for the idea or the usage of the feature and the feedback, on what can be done better in this feature, because obviously you will compare two things. Like suppose you have one, you all will take your example, you have an iPhone and you have another phone like Samsung. You will obviously compare these two products, because the work of both the products are same. You can take calls, you can use the internet, in both are smartphones. The product is same, but there must be something different that you may want to take in Samsung and not iPhone, or vice versa. So understanding if the company approaches you, okay, what your Samsung company approaches you, okay, what is the thing which you are looking for and which we are not able to provide to you with this piece, then your feedback will help there. So you should always go with this mindset. Okay, what is the problem you are facing with the current functionality, current feature, and how can that be change and develop well to serve your purpose. So with that intention, if you go to the customer for feedbacks, obviously the customer will also be related that okay, they are actually thinking of our work and our success, and so they will also help you with the proper statements and proper guidelines, proper feedback to work on the product. But if you just go, if it's just a normal feedback, if you ask her, okay, these are the products, these are the features and all, please use it and tell us, then that the friendly touch is required in feedback too. Okay, you accept it, okay, there might be something which is missing, but if you can give the exact usage or what you are facing, then yeah, you'll get good feedbacks, and that will help you to groom the product.
That is right. Thank you. That bit. One subject that I wanted to touch with you is on job descriptions. I know we've had some conversations on that in the past, and that's one of the things that you are pretty vocal about. So I wanted to get your perspective, because you have been doing some interviews and you are talking to a lot of testers, you're talking to a lot of other people. So what is your thought on the job descriptions in the modern day?
So job description, like you say, I mean, I'll repeat your line that you make your CV according to the job description. Like, that is correct. But a job description should be such that you are not expecting a full, a full basket of all the fruits where you require only mangoes, right? So whatever is the requirement, you just state that in the job description, so that people who are applying are more confident about it. Because if you ask for you need this ability, you need that ability, and cucumber and many more things, so only a robot can do that. Because if you are asking for a person to do a work of 10 employees, then you need to give that salary too. If the person is investing his time to learn everything before learn these things, each and everything from which is stated in the job description, he's investing his time, he's investing everything, then the salary should also be such that which would pay him right. So based on this and even on our few discussions, the job description should be up to mark. Okay, what you require, what skills you require, what for a product, because you will the HR or the team will always look for a person with which requirements they get from the team. So if you require, you need to be good in SQL, then you should the job description should be more specific to that feature. Okay, the SQL is a must. Regarding SQL and other languages and Python and all, everything should not be stated. Oh, what is the requirement? Okay, this can be given in the add-ons. Okay, this will be an add-on in future if we get good projects or something, but that should not be in the basic job description. The basic job description should only say what is the current requirement, so that even the person who is applying is very sure about it. Because I've seen in when I was applying previously, so I've seen that the job description says we require a functional tester, but should know .NET, should know Java, should know Python, should know this. Your requirement is of functional tester, and you're going to work they don't require automation and tester, but they need this knowledge.
Yeah, so I'm going to take your example here. So it's like I want to drink mango milkshake, and I say, okay, here's banana, here's pineapple, here's apple, now make mango milkshake out of it.
Yeah.
Something like that. Okay, so the basic thing that is mangoes are required for mango milkshake is missing, and that's seemingly so in job descriptions, especially of tester. Okay, so in the testing job descriptions, you see everything else written there except for testing skills. Okay.
Yeah.
In the job description today, nobody talks about testing skills being required. Nobody says, okay, you need to be good at doing test planning or making test strategies, good test design. Okay, you must be aware of concepts like model-based testing or risk-based testing. Nobody asks you that.
Which should be related to testing out of, thinking out of the box.
Yeah.
This should one skill which every tester should possess, and this should also be there in the job description, I think.
Unfortunately, it is not, and I believe that if people, especially recruiters and hiring managers, if they are going to interview, please take a look at your job description.
Yeah.
And work
So
on that.
since you have just got this topic about job descriptions, so I would just like to add few things that one advice for the community that you should never love your company. Okay, like you say, okay, this is my dream company. I'm here now. I want to retire, and all. Whether you are happy with the job or not, you should never love your company, because one day you will leave the company. The company is not gonna go anywhere, right? So if you're happy, you're enjoying work and everything, then it is fine for you to stay till the end of your retirement. But if you're not happy with the work and you're just in the company for the sake of the name, like, okay, this was my dream company and I'm here, so I'll stay here, that's, you are killing yourself, you're killing your career. So initially, like I said, I started my journey from IBM. So, IBM was a name at that times, right? And so it was, I joined as a contractor. So I was not on payroll of IBM. I was working to another company in IBM. But, sooner or later, I realized that, okay, my work is not being appreciated here. Like, I was a contractor, and for 3 years, like, I was not made permanent despite of, I mean, my work was not valued there. So I thought to switch, and I came to this company, which was initially a startup. So now I see the difference here. Okay, the things I was doing there, okay, the things have doubled here, but I'm appreciated. My work is valued here. So you should always be there where your work and you are valued.
Right. I think that's a very good point. Yeah, we go so much to the extent of, yeah, I mean, it's a good idea to have dream companies, work for them, but at the same time, it's far more important to enjoy your work, to love the thing that you do. I mean, if you're a tester, I keep saying be proud that you're a tester.
Yeah.
Be proud to be a tester. You should always be happy doing that job as a tester. So it should not be that, okay, you are aiming for, say, for example, I'm going to take Google's name and say, okay, I work for Google, but I don't love the job that I'm doing. It doesn't make sense, right? So, you have some good advice there. Now, what would be your advice to somebody who's starting their journey as a tester? Say, for example, now. Okay, so if I were to come to you and say, okay, I'm starting my journey as a tester, what's your advice for me?
First advice would be accept the challenges whichever come to you for day-to-day life. Okay, so I've seen like freshers, and not actually freshers, but even if you get a new product for testing, at that time again you are new to it, so your experience will work, but for that product, for that new feature, you are still new to it. So you should accept the challenges which might come with it. If you want to learn something which requires for that product some knowledge or some trainings required for it, then take those trainings. But don't be hesitate to ask for some training or something. You should always accept challenges, and you should always keep on learning. Learning never ends. There are so many things. Right now, I can say in this after 8 years of experience, still I think my knowledge is not even 50% in the testing, testing community, which everyone has. because there's no end to learning. Daily there are something or the other new techniques, new features which are coming, new types of testing which are coming. So even I'm not equipped with it. So the only one thing which everyone should remember is never say no to any learnings, always, and never say no to any challenge, accept the challenge. A very simple example which I would give is my current product. I required the knowledge of ETL. Okay, so I was doing functional testing, and currently also I'm doing the functional testing. I'm not doing the ETL testing, but some aspect of ETL testing I require. But if I would just directly say that, okay, I'm a functional tester, I'm not an ETL tester, I don't know this, so that will be a drawback for me, because I have at the first stage I have just not accepted it, and I have just raised my hands. So you should try it. You should accept the challenge. I have accepted it. I have learned basics of ETL, and it's helping me. So somebody, learning never goes in vain. So if you learn something new, it will help at any point of your life, right? Because since if I sometimes I think, okay, if I had learned the ETL, then it would have been more helpful right now. But it's not late. I can even start right now. So accepting challenge, and this is the one thing. The second thing I already mentioned: never love your company, because that stops your growth sometimes. Because if you're not happy, just being in the company for the sake of it stops your growth. Okay, and sorry.
Love your company. I would rather put it as don't overcommit to your company. I mean,
Yeah.
I will mellow it down because say that some people might say, oh okay. I'm just trying to tone it down a bit. I know what you're saying, and I agree with you. So, okay, please continue. I'm sorry, I interrupted.
And other thing is, you should always have a proactive test approach.
Yes.
And not reactive. It should always be proactive, so that later it doesn't have, you don't have to pay a very high price to fix
Correct.
any defect. So your approach should always be proactive. And one thing which we have started here, which helps a lot, this might be help to other testers, like in strategies, like you say about mind maps. Mind maps are also helpful. The other thing which we use is for high level scenarios, we make the flow chart. Remember, we used to make flow charts in our schools for something, right? So we add those flow charts in our strategies. Okay, so this is going to work in this way. So that gives that single flow chart gives you many other cases. You have drawn a very high level flow chart, but based on it, you get many cases, many negative scenarios, many positive scenarios to test. So always, whenever you are creating test cases, first draw a flow chart of the main functionality. That will give you the different scenarios. If conditions, what happens if this is done this way, what happens if that is done, that flow will help you a lot.
Yes. Yes. On that flow chart, I have a slightly different approach than charts. What I normally do is focus on two things: the data flow and the control flow. Whenever I'm thinking of a situation, a functionality, what I like to document for myself, for my reference, basically is how is the data flowing functionality, and how is the control flowing in this functionality. If there are dependencies of that functionality on either side, how is the control flow? So I think your idea is pretty simple, because people are used to doing flow charts from the days in school and college, of course. I should probably go back to the flowchart way of doing things. Mine is a little complicated because I draw a lot of boxes and a lot of arrows, and then sometimes even I get confused, and then I have to, sit and analyze again. It has been working for me, but I will take this tip from you.
Yeah,
So
because
thank you for.
this has also helped developers. We have seen that during brainstorming, after brainstorming the scenarios, if we write the strategy and give our points and our flowcharts, then the developers also get some idea. Okay, this was maybe we missed thinking, but this can also be a scenario. So before it comes to testing and all, the developers can implement it, right? So this also helps the developers and the product owners. So what I feel is for testing anything, the strategy plays a very important role. You need to have a very crisp and very good strategy of before testing, which will help you a lot.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, thank you so much for those tips. I'm sure these tips that you mentioned are not just for people who are just graduating. In fact, people who have spent time in the industry can also use these tips and benefit from them.
Yeah.
Like for example, I just mentioned that the flowchart tip, I'm going to start using it immediately. Thank you so much for that. That is a very good idea. So
It was, when we started it, so initially for the first strategy, we thought it was a very time-consuming task, but eventually we got used to it. Now it's, it's very easy. Open the Word document and just draw the boxes. Have that flow in your mind or in a book, and just have to carve it on the document. It's all.
I think it's an excellent idea. So, Himani, I really appreciate you sharing all the passionate things about testing and things like that. Now, I'm curious to know, what does Himani do when she is not testing?
Okay. When I'm not testing, I'm dancing. So that's my hobby and passion, and I keep learning different forms professionally. So like I've said before, that weekdays are for work, weekends are for my hobby. So on Saturday, Sunday, you'll find me at the studio, and that's the thing I'm really missing right now, because that is one thing that cannot be done virtual. Yeah, classes are there virtual, but that feel in the studio with other girls and all, and other my the dance guru and other instructors, and also that is what I'm missing. But yeah, if then I had this, if I was not into testing, I would be somewhere with my own dance class. So
Nice.
yeah.
So you do a lot of professional shows and stuff like that?
Yeah, so our classes where I'm going, so we have an annual event. So currently, so I've learned different forms. Like for a few years, I was with the Shamak Gava's company for learning dance. So there we used to do annual shows, and currently I'm learning belly dance. So that also we have a yearly, we have an event which happens every year in August. This time I'm missing that, but yeah, we do shows yearly.
Is it happening this year because of the Corona thing, or it's
not happening? That's what I'm saying. It's not happening. So I'm missing that fun and all of the show.
That's nice to know. I mean, it's good to have a hobby, and I'm happy to hear that you are doing that diligently. You are doing that even professionally, because you mentioned the name of Shamak Davar. I think people will know that he's one of the best choreographers in India, and for you to have worked with him, I've seen your picture with him. I think. So I think that's a I think that's a great achievement. So congratulations to you on that one, and keep dancing. Okay, and keep testing, of course. It was an absolute pleasure talking to you today.
Yeah.
Your journey from
Really happy sharing my thoughts with the community, and I'm always ready to help anyone who reaches out to me.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that. I am sure a lot of people will want to connect with you and learn from you. Learn more than testing, maybe probably dancing. So you may you may get some queries for some dance lessons. Okay, that's that's good. Yeah, it was really fun chatting with you today. I am really thankful for you to share your views on testing on other subjects and pouring your heart out. I mean, that really shows how passionate you are about the craft of testing and how you've given yourself a lot of opportunities by first of all trying to document stuff and then learning from there, and then this idea of flowcharts and things like that. So you are always trying to be creative with regards to the way you test, which is very nice. Once again, thank you so much, Himani, for being a part of TesterSpeak, and I wish you a good Sunday.
Yeah, thank you. You too enjoy your Sunday with your son.
Yeah, sure. All right, take care, and we'll catch up soon.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.